because someone pissed him off, he socked him in the face. Like, that's not someone who's confident. That's someone who's scary. Hello, welcome back. My name is Augustus, and I learn about social barriers and norms to help people become their true self in life. Here today, we're talking about the topic of confidence. Why? Because you guys love hearing about confidence and how do you become socially confident. For this particular video, I actually want to really differentiate between introverted and extroverted confidence. Because I feel like there's this misconception between if you are confident, you have to be like the super outgoing person. And sometimes we become so much more attached to becoming another person than realizing what our inherent nature is and what does that look like naturally for us. So if you're an introvert and you're trying to change yourself to extrovert, it can work. It'll probably take a lot of work, but understand that by nature, it will be very tiring and that you might not be able to get the same results even if you're confident. Yeah, so that's pretty much why I want to talk about this topic. So here, let's go over some common features of what both sides, introverts and extroverts, have in common. Because confidence, regardless of what it is, it will look a certain way. So here, the main thing with confidence is that first, they will always be very self-assured. Someone that is self-assured means that they don't really look outside for approval. They have a very inward focus in terms of self-evaluating systems or values. So it's kind of like if someone challenges them and say something like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, they won't have a nervous breakdown. They won't question themselves. They won't throw everything out the window because someone challenged them. They will be able to respond back to them, not in an insecure way, but in a way that really shows that they're fine with people challenging them. So it can be like, oh, why do you think that? Or really trying to understand the situation and not being really shaken. They're kind of like a huge pillar that they're not really easily moved. They're not jerks, they're not arrogant, but at the same time, they're not closed off to different opinions. I know it feels like a little paradox because how can you be solid in what you think and at the same time being open to suggestions? And this really has to do with value systems. It's kind of like when you take advice from your parents, you don't hear everything or just believe every single thing that they say. You have your own thoughts and your opinions, but you only take in the ones that you feel like will be beneficial towards you. And that's the same concept, similar to confidence. And one of the ones that I also added in here is the ability to handle emotions. With confidence, it really has this factor where you learn to handle different aspects of emotions. Let's say if someone tries to piss this guy off, try to provoke him, the person has complete control over his or her emotions, and they won't really react to the other person. The person wants to be able to do the things that he does when he wants to and how he wants to. The confident person can feel anger, sadness, happiness, but then still at the same time have complete control over himself. So he's not like provoked to anger and then starts like beating people up. Or because someone pissed him off, he socked him in the face. Like, that's not someone who's confident. That's someone who's scary. That's someone we probably don't want to be around. So having physical strength and beating up other people, that's not confidence. That's just like someone who's chaos inside and someone you don't want to be around. And also another common aspect is this part of not being insecure. And that comes in the part of bragging and putting others people down. So when people are bragging, there's this expression called the weakest dog barks the loudest. And it really has everything to do with the fact that if you don't feel secure about yourself as a person, then you will do everything you can to put other people down and eliminate other people's threats. And that's when you brag and say like, oh, this is how much I have, so that's why you're worse than me. Or, oh, you suck more than I do, so that's why you're worse than me. So these are different things that people try to display when they're insecure. Okay, so that's the very basics. But now let's get into the difference between introverted confidence and extroverted confidence. So this is from my observation, but when you have a introverted that's more confident, this person usually is the more intellectual type. This person is more quiet, more reserved. This person, when he or she speaks, usually it's very well thought through and has taken to a lot of different scenarios before they actually give you a response. So these are your deep thinkers. These are your Albert Einsteins. So when you have someone that's introverted and confident, that's usually the approach that they will have. And understand that someone that is more introverted doesn't usually draw that much attention to themselves. They're not showy, they're not loud, they're not obnoxious. They going around and usually just kind of minding their own business. But the key difference is that when attention comes to them, they are not afraid of that attention. They're quiet, they have their own life, they're doing their own thing, but they are not afraid to speak up when they are given a chance or when the attention goes to them. They know how to take care of things and they think things through very thoroughly. And that's usually what an introvert look like. So if this is like what your personality fits into more, like this will probably what you being confident will look like. As opposed to when you're extroverted, where this is where you're a lot more loud, more vocal about the things that you do. This is the people that runs around and try to gather people up, and probably sometimes the social connectors of the group. They are the people that are what people naturally see as leaders. They stand up and people gravitate towards them. And a lot of times I feel like this is what people see confidence as or sees leadership as. And that's what people want to be. I want to be confident. I want to be socially part of a huge group and be the leader of it. But the thing is, if you want to be an extroverted, confident person, kind of like the one I'm describing here right now, like understand that as an introvert, it'll be harder to reach that stage. And someone who is introverted naturally can't take on that capacity to be someone that's super extroverted. And to be honest, it's not a bad thing. It's kind of like each one has its strengths and weaknesses. And plus, if you're naturally more introverted, why would you want to take away some of the special traits that you have for yourself of being deeper thinker, more observant, and trade that for something that will completely exhaust you? So, and on the same side, if you're extroverted, you can go and try to be introverted, but then understand that your natural tendencies won't really help you because both types of people are wired different psychologically. And it's by nature how you were raised, how you think. And if you want to really change that, you'll have to like rewire everything. So that's kind of the thoughts I have in terms of extroverted and introverted types of confidence. And sometimes I see people just really try to be someone they're not, and it's extremely tiring. So understand your limits, understand who you can and cannot become, and then live within that area. So that's kind of what I want to share here, and that's it. I will talk to you guys next time. Stay strong, stay healthy, and see you soon.